Pandora Syndrome. Written by April Walleen. Read by April Walleen. Directed and recorded by Andreas Gallego. So, it was an ambush all along, Mel muttered as we left Noodle World and walked out into the parking lot toward my car. It was night now and blessedly cool. I was exhausted, but feeling a little better now that the sun was down. I wasn't quite myself, but I didn't feel like I was going to fall over anymore. My vamp healing seemed to be working again, and my bad arm was not feeling quite so bad anymore. Any other wounds I'd incurred were also healing nicely. Once I had time to get over that, all I had to worry about was the fatigue from the use of my necro powers. "Tell me what the goth kid said," Mel demanded. Impressive considering she was pale as a sheet and could barely keep her breath steady. I groaned and considered, wanting to choose my words carefully. A rival necromancer had approached them after our little altercation in the cemetery. Her eyes went wide. I didn't want to drag her into my business, but they had already done that. I couldn't leave her in the dark. "Another necromancer?" she asked in shock. Well, that explains a few questions I had. I felt a little guilty for not having told her sooner. Yeah, as you can tell, this one doesn't like me much. I don't know who he is, and unfortunately the vampires didn't have much info. I felt a little sick remembering my encounter with the necromancer and his unsettling voice. It had been the necromancer's idea to blackmail me. Thanks to you, we caught them off guard. Even the necromancer hadn't expected me to come during the day. "See, it was a great plan," Mel said, shifting in my arm so she could walk a little better. I was just happy that the exit for the restaurant was right next to the bathrooms. No one had seen us leave. The plan was to confront me in the parking lot and then drag me down into their lair where the necromancer would be waiting. They'd been given some weird little stone thing and told to collect my blood with it. They didn't know what for. Unfortunately, that part of the necromancer's goal was achieved. "He took your blood?" Mel nearly screeched, but in her current condition, her voice just cracked with the effort. "Blood magic is seriously bad news. How much did he take?" "Only a little," I replied sheepishly, subconsciously rubbing the spot where they'd smashed the little talisman against me. Mel hung her head. "I messed this whole thing up." "What are you talking about? They would have likely killed me." "What good did I do?" she asked seriously, the dark circles under her eyes making her look so pathetic I just couldn't stop her. "All I managed was taking down a few vampires before turning into one of their snacks." "Look, if it's anyone's fault, it's mine," I told her and sighed heavily. It was time for full disclosure. "This isn't my first run-in with this necromancer." She looked up at me in concern. "I have a long history with him. In fact, he's been after me since I was alive, and after all these years, I still don't know why." I sighed heavily. "Now it looks like I've gotten you involved in this." "Well," Mel sighed, giving it some thought, and then shrugged. "Those vampires have been plaguing my territory long before I met you. Your necromancer is just an unpleasant addition." I thought on that. The necromancer always seemed to be toying with me, like they were testing me. How many times had he pushed me with some new challenge? I'd pushed back each time with a different aspect of my power. Usually something I didn't even know was there. A horrifying thought occurred to me then. Was that why the necromancer had taken my blood? Were they studying me? A shiver on knees trailed down my spine. "You need to tell Romulus." "I will when he gets back in town," I told her, and then stopped dead in my tracks as I sensed something ahead. I looked up in confusion to find Jack, Sarge, and Hank standing by my car. "What are they doing here?" Mel asked. "I don't know," I replied. But I did. My brother could always sense where I was, just as I could him. It always got worse when one of us was in trouble. The same thing happened with Sarge. Side effect of their undeath. Why Hank was there, though, I really didn't know. It was then that Jack and Sarge spotted me. Oh no. "There you are!" Jack yelled, running towards us, Sarge right on his heels. "Where the hell were you?" he asked, and then looked down at Mel. "What happened to her?" "Long story," I replied. "I have a feeling I know why Sarge is here, but why is Hank?" "He wouldn't let us come without him." I rolled my eyes as we continued toward my car. Why did I even ask? When Hank caught up with us, he immediately took Mel's other arm. "Mel, are you all right?" he crooned over her. Hank stumbled a little when he took some of her weight, but corrected himself quickly. Well, werewolves were dense beings. Mel blushed a little as she looked up at him. Okay, none of that now, I grumbled at her. I don't think you can spare the blood, Mel glared at me. Jack took my side of Mel's arm, and the boys helped her the rest of the way. Finally, despite Sarge's attempts at helping that came in the form of nearly tripping us every step, we got Mel in the front seat of my car. Thanks, guys. I'll see you back at home, I told them, and went around to my side. What do you mean, see you back at home? Jack asked indignantly. You said you'd tell us what happened. You can't just leave. I will, and yes, I am, I replied plainly. If you haven't noticed, Mel's not doing well. I have to get her back to her pack. Oh, no, you don't, Hank popped in. You're not going to the werewolf party without me. My eyes went a little wide then. I had completely forgotten about the party. I'd been trying so hard to get out of it, and now it didn't look like I had a choice. Ugh, fate really did hate me. I'll meet you there, Hank told us, and began to unlock his little blue pickup parked crookedly next to my Pontiac. No, I replied, but Jack, Hank, and Sarge were already piled into the car and on their way. I didn't want Hank involved in any of this. The only people that knew about my horrible stalker were Remy and Mel. I hadn't even wanted Mel involved, and now I was going to have to explain all of this to her pack leader. I'd be lucky if I made it out with all my limbs attached. This is so bad, I grumbled, and let my head fall hard onto the roof of my car. I must have been feeling a lot better because not only had that not hurt, I put a small dent in the metal. Damn it. Groaning, I opened my door and slid in before Mel. She was still pale, but looking at me with clarity in her eyes. Party time, she said, forcing a weak smile. I just rolled my eyes and started the car.